Some of the stress behaviors that we can notice from workplace stress are high stress levels that adversely impact productivity and interpersonal interaction, which hinders organizational effectiveness. We do know that some stress is good because that can help you push towards, a deadline or an end goal. So sometimes a small amount of stress is okay because it keeps you on track and motivates you to get that thing done. But too much stress can reduce production. It can lead to illness. It can lead to mistakes, breakdowns, loss of interest. Sorry, I have a parakeet that's tweeting in the background. So you do have to make sure that you have a nice balance of those things so that you don't have too much stress, but a little bit of stress is okay as well. So some other stressful behaviors that you might witness at work would be possibly people becoming withdrawn. It might be the opposite of what you think. They might, just go right to their cubicle or right to their office and not talk to anybody. They don't want to talk to anybody. They might call in sick. They may fail to contribute in meetings or might not contribute, if they receive an email or, if there's a group of people, having lunch together, they might go sit by themselves. Production could possibly decline. People also could do the opposite. They might start yelling at others, arguing with people. They might be grumpy. They might be sad. They could possibly injure themselves on the job, if they're working out on the floor or something like that, and they're very, very stressed out. They might not be paying attention. That can lead to injuries, depending what you're doing. You see it all the time. And also there is the possibility that somebody might create a lot of drama on the job. That could be a stressful behavior as well. So we are seeing these stressful behaviors within the merger. We're seeing a lot of anger, resentment, some cultural issues going on because of two different countries merging, a lot of incohesiveness, some confusion. We're probably, experiencing some fear of the unknown from what is going on from this merger. People are probably experiencing some training issues. And then, of course, there's been this lack of communication and unclear role defining that occurred because I believe some proper procedures weren't followed in the first place. So we have to look at those items as being stressful and try to overcome those so that things are less stressful at work. So with our stress management, we need to support and encourage others to overcome challenges. We have to celebrate strengths and achievements, provide some rewards, whether it be a pat on the back or a hey, attaboy, way to go, let's get together for lunch tomorrow, that kind of stuff. Also providing some training and resources for people that are stressed out about what their job performance is. Being proactive in our stress management can also help maintain production. Workers have to feel safe. They need to trust us as leaders. They need to trust their coworkers, and they need to be able to reach out for help if they need it. If they feel overwhelmed, reaching out to others to see if somebody else can help with the workload, or asking for help and training or assistance if they don't understand something that's going on. If there are some disagreements going on with others, we need to make sure that we don't let it fester, that we get to the bottom of the issue right away, find out what's going on, why aren't the two people getting along, or why aren't the two groups getting along, or whatever it might be that's happening. We need to sit down with them and try to figure that out, because if you don't, and if one person just goes to management and then the other person goes to management, then you've got a he said, she said type situation going on, and it really doesn't get resolved correctly because it's hearsay. One person says something, and then management comes back with another thing, and it's probably just best if you can do it all and initially find out what happened and then draw everybody together to come up with a solution that works for everybody and how people can get through these disagreements or get along. It might be that you might have to move people to some different departments too if there's just too much disagreement or too much people not getting along for whatever reason it might be. Also, if you can do something to distract from the stress on a personal level, encourage employees to volunteer, visit with others, do some exercise, sleep. That'd be my favorite, sleep. Maybe take a mini vacation, go for spa treatments, a massage, do some reading, some hiking, biking, yoga, whatever it is that they like to do so that they can be distracted from stress. Even if it's just for, an hour a week, some personal alone downtime is good. It's hard to do with work and families and home life and things that, happen. But if you can make just a little bit of time for yourself, that will help with your stress management. And as a company, we could look at some team building efforts, health and wellness programs, happy hour, company picnics, stretching programs at work, taking some break times with one another, and just once a week or once a day, sit down and tell jokes or something fun to get everybody's mind off work and out of the stress. And during that time, don't talk about work. Talk about something fun, something they did that weekend. Take a few minutes to get to know people. Form some committees that we can recognize some fun events for employees, or even sad events. Just that recognition, letting people know that the company really cares about them is important. And then there's different ways to provide inclusion and informal stress relief in the workplace as well, and at home. So, you just have to come up with whatever might work for each company or each person. Not everything is going to work for everybody because everybody has their own preferences and tastes. But and then being able to offer constructive ideas to alleviate office and personal issues and stress. This could be something as simple as, maybe there's something going on in a person's life at home. It's very hard for them to get to work on time because of daycare drop-off times or daycare pickup times, or maybe a spouse is ill or a family member is ill, or something along those lines. So offering some schedule adjustments, maybe an extended lunch period to be able to go home and check on a family member, or, spending one day a week at home, working from home, or leaving early, coming in late. Something to help employees so that they know that they are important and that they do matter to the company, and it might be just something for a short time that will help alleviate some personal issues or stress at home, and that will, of course, then lead to a more productive working environment because you're not stressed out about something that's going on at home, and you've got that time to take and focus on whatever is going on. And then again, like we've talked about numerous times here, forming committees and teams to address questions mergers created. What are we going to name the place? What are the benefits going to be involved? What's the cultural issues going on? Are there issues? What are the values, goals, vision? Who am I going to be at this new company? Who's my supervisor? What kind of a company are we creating? Are we all being replaced? Are we being retrained? Do we have to relocate? These are the questions that are causing confusion and low morale and stress. So we want to reduce that and being open, honest, communicating, forming some teams to get to the bottoms of these questions so that we can plow ahead with the information and let people know what is going on. And finally, high-performing teams, when we develop them and the different approaches we use to develop them, members of effective teams are open, honest, there's support and trust, cooperation, collaboration. Decisions are reached by everyone, a consensus, and there's lots of open communication and a strong commitment to the team goals. Managing conflict is essential, and developing a constructive criticism that's oriented towards problem solving. And leadership shifts to fit the needs of the team and drive the results. So no particular person is more important than anybody else on the team. And then knowing that growth and acquisitions eventually lead to financial benefits. And to get there, we have to improve our organizational effectiveness using diagnostic tools to identify our problem areas, and then utilizing smaller goals to reach the ultimate goal. So breaking down the morality, performance, and stress issues to get to the root of our problems, and developing committees and teams to address the problems like we've been talking about. And then team building through inner and outer resources, like we talked, rock climbing, potlucks, having speakers come in, canoeing, just different ideas, whatever we can do to develop and build the team, focusing on strengths and differences, experiences, training, cultural differences, bringing all members to the table to create a diversified workforce that will take the business to the forefront of the IT world and address the issues with the skills we need to succeed. And then creating a culture of trust so everybody feels open to be able to share and collaborate. All ideas are considered. Nobody's more important than anybody else. Empowering our members to create their own destiny and success. They can be whatever they want to be. They just have to do it. And then organizations can cultivate and leverage organizational development tools and techniques to increase their capacity to compete in the world that we live in, and teams need to be constructed to optimize those results. What can we do to encourage high performance? Well, we can reduce turnover by collaborating, training, being inclusive, engaging, because turnover has a high cost. We want to keep that to a minimum if possible. Reduce our expense ratio, see if we can maybe cut back on some outsourcing, bring some of the work back into our own talent pool to have it done, especially now that we've got these two new companies coming together. We should be able to bring a lot of things back to us to work out with the IT and social media. Retaining employees, the ones that we have, the ones that we're merging with. This is done through creating the buy-in, empowering, any additional training, team building, role definition, goals, culture, vision, missions, management by objective, having activities and organizational goals integrate so employees are equipped with the right tools, they're motivated, and they receive guidance to reach the strategic plan goals. Our merger needs to address the goal setting, all the roles of what people are going to do, leadership and management, who's in charge, how do we resolve our conflicts, how are we going to boost morale, how are we going to decrease stress, and define the merger and what the company plans to do. We need to communicate this out, form those teams, clarify our benefit program, our cultural and ethical differences, increase production, and rename the company. So we need to set clear goals and expectations with proper guidance, tools, resources, with clear directions and deadlines. We need to set that up so that we can muddle through the merger and get to the end result that we need. Empower our workforce to lead the merger and take the internet by storm. Team development will enhance our communication, collaboration, and cooperation, and then we want to aim for that System 4 approach with trying to achieve a System 3 or 4 organization, which is more of a flat approach to the business, with everybody having the opportunity to grow and lead within the company. Finally, I think there's kind of a common theme that seems to be appearing throughout this presentation. It all boils down to we need to be open, honest, communicate, collaborate, empower, trust, train our employees, delve into disagreements, focus on how to make things work within the merger, be inclusive to everyone within the business, address any issues that are coming up, and plan for the future. Once we do this, we should be able to hopefully, like I said, it's going to take a little while. It's not going to happen overnight. But by developing some of these plans, setting out some of these steps and guidelines, taking the opportunity and the time to show our employees of the two companies that we really want this to succeed and we want them to be a part of it, and asking for their input on how to make it work and how things can look for the future, defining all those goals that we need to do, and defining all the things that we need to establish so that we can be happy and successful. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present this information to you, and I hope if you have any questions, you'll reach out to me. Thank you and have a great day.